Imagine being able to control your future just by changing your daily routine. This is not a fantasy, but a reality that can be achieved through understanding and harnessing the power of habits. Habits, those small, seemingly insignificant actions we perform day in and day out, have a profound impact on our lives. They shape our health, wealth, happiness, and ultimately our destiny. Enter the world of Atomic Habits by James Clear, a book that brilliantly explores this concept. Clear emphasizes that success doesn't hinge on massive, life-altering changes. Rather, it's the product of small, everyday habits that stack up over time. Tiny improvements, when consistently applied, can lead to remarkable results. The beauty of this approach is that it's accessible to us all. We don't need extraordinary willpower or exceptional circumstances. We just need to understand how to make our habits work for us. In Atomic Habits, Clear shows us how to harness the power of these small habits to transform our lives. Ever wonder why it's so hard to give up that morning coffee or late-night snack? Well, it's all down to the science of habits. In the book Atomic Habits, author James Clear presents a simple but powerful four-step model that explains how habits work. This model can shed light on why we do what we do, and also how we can use this understanding to create good habits and break bad ones. The first step of this model is the cue. This is the trigger that initiates the habit. It could be anything from a location, a time of day, an emotional state, or even the presence of certain people. For instance, the smell of brewing coffee might be the cue that triggers your morning coffee habit. The second step is the craving. This is not the habit itself, but the motivational force behind it. It's the anticipation of the reward that makes us repeat the behavior. In our coffee example, the craving could be the desire for the stimulating effects of caffeine. The third step is the response. This is the actual habit you perform, whether it's physical or mental. It's the action of drinking the coffee. The response depends on your ability to perform the habit and the effort it requires. Lastly, we have the reward. The reward is the end goal of every habit. It's the pleasurable feeling you get after drinking the coffee. Not only does the reward satisfy the craving, but it also reinforces the cue, making it more likely that you will repeat the habit in the future. Understanding this model is crucial, as it provides a framework that we can use to manipulate our habits. If we want to create a good habit, we can make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. Conversely, if we want to break a bad habit, we can make the cue invisible, the craving unattractive, the response difficult, and the reward unsatisfying. Once we understand how habits work, we can start to control them. And that, my friends, is the power of the science of habits. So we know how habits work, but how do we use this knowledge to build the habits we want? This is where James Clear's 4 laws of behavior change come into play. They're like a blueprint for building new habits. And what's great is that you can apply them to any area of your life. The first law is to make it obvious. The idea here is to make the cues of your good habits stand out. Let's say you want to read more. One way to make this habit obvious is to leave books in places where you frequently spend time, like your living room or your bedside table. That way, every time you see a book, you're reminded to read. The second law is to make it attractive. This one is all about making your habits enticing so you actually want to do them. For the reading habit, maybe you could start with a book on a topic you're really passionate about. Or perhaps you could treat yourself to a cozy reading nook where you can relax and enjoy your book. The third law is to make it easy. When starting a new habit, it's crucial to reduce any barriers that could get in the way. For our reading example, you could start with just 5 pages a day. It's a small commitment that won't feel overwhelming, but over time, those pages will add up. The fourth and final law is to make it satisfying. We're more likely to repeat a habit if we enjoy it, so find ways to make your habit rewarding. For reading, you might find satisfaction in learning something new, escaping into a different world, or even just the relaxing ritual of reading before bed. Now, these laws are not a one-size-fits-all solution. They're meant to be tailored to your unique circumstances and goals, but with a little bit of creativity and patience, you can use them to make any habit stick. By applying these laws, we can make the process of building good habits much easier. Breaking bad habits is just as important as building good ones, but how do we do it? The third part of the gem, Atomic Habits by James Clear, offers an elegant solution, focusing on the inverse of the 4 laws of behavior change. Let's delve into these laws and see how we can use them to break our bad habits. Firstly, we have to make it invisible. You see, Our environment plays a significant role in our behavior, so if you want to break a bad habit, reduce exposure to the cues that cause it. For instance, if you're trying to cut down on junk food, don't keep it in visible areas of your kitchen. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Secondly, make it unattractive. Habits are attractive because they provide a benefit, even if they are harmful in the long term. To break a bad habit, associate it with negative feelings or outcomes. For example, instead of thinking about how good a cigarette tastes, focus on the negative health effects of smoking. Next, make it difficult. Increase the friction associated with bad habits. If you want to reduce the time you spend on your phone, place it in another room. By creating a barrier, you'll be less likely to engage in the habit. Finally, make it unsatisfying. We are more likely to repeat a bad habit if it's satisfying. To break it, ensure the negative impact is felt immediately. For example, if you're trying to quit a spending habit, consider using cash instead of a credit card. You'll feel the pinch immediately, making the habit less satisfying. Implementing these strategies may seem daunting at first. However, remember that small changes can lead to significant results over time. It's not about perfection, but progress. Each day, each step you take towards breaking your bad habits brings you closer to becoming the person you aspire to be. With these strategies, we can take control of our habits and start to change our lives. Want to know a secret to making habit change even easier? Well, let's dive into the power of habit stacking. This potent concept, introduced in the book Atomic Habits, is about coupling habits together to make them more influential and easier to sustain. So, what is habit stacking exactly? It's the process of taking a habit you already do consistently and then adding a new habit to it. It's like a chain reaction where one action triggers the next one. This strategy works because your existing habits already have strong cues, making it easier for the new habit to stick. For instance, if you already have a habit of drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, you could stack a new habit onto it, like doing 5 minutes of stretching. Suddenly, your morning routine is twice as healthy. The beauty of habit stacking is that it leverages the patterns you already have in place, making it much easier to add new habits. With habit stacking, we can build powerful routines that help us achieve our goals faster and more efficiently.